Have you ever had an experience so profound that it has left you speechless, that you might have considered yourself an expert in an area and your mind just blew you away? Well, that's what's happened to me this past week, and why we didn't put up the voting topics for the community chosen video, because this experience was so profound, tying lucid dreams and manifesting together for me within my consciousness, that I knew this would be the topic this week. And it will blow you away, because in this part one video, I'm going to share the connection between dreaming, lucid dreaming, and manifestation, how it's all the same language, it's all the same thing. And then today, during our Wednesday live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to do the part two. I'm going to actually share the dream, the lucid dream that I experienced in my consciousness, and tie it together on how what you're experiencing right now is a lucid dream. And it's more than just an analogy. It's more than just a concept. So stick with me in this part one video as I share with you the awareness, the connection between dreaming, lucid dreaming, and manifestation, and what's going on right now, and how you can finally leave I am alone and go into I create, because the I am always is. And this is what part of the awareness, this experience, this is why I'm always saying to you, get into the experience, not just the learning and the intellectual knowledge of whatever topic it is: lucid dreaming, manifestation, nutrition, whatever you want to talk about or learn about. The learning part is fun, but when you actually put yourself into an experience of something, it brings to you awareness in a half hour that might take you 5 years or however long to understand intellectually. So welcome to the channel. This is the Invincible CEO Wish Fulfilled Playground. My name is Dede Powerniak, and I am the Invincible CEO. I am here to help you manifest with ease by making clear, concise choices in the now moment, to expand your awareness, to know exactly what's going on right here, right now, in this eternal now moment. So if you are returning, thank you guys so much for coming back. If you're new here, welcome. Please take a moment either way to like the channel, subscribe if you haven't done so. Feel free to share the video and the channel with others. Also know that we now have a membership channel with 3 different levels. So if that's something that you are interested in, check the description box below. You'll see the join button and it'll give you all the information. In addition to that, coaching is always open. I have one-off sessions. I have digital do-it-yourself courses. I also have personalized one-on-one 3-month programs. And I'm really excited to share on the 16th and 17th of November, we are having our next 2-day event, Foundational Assumptions, and how foundational assumptions, building the foundation within your consciousness, within your awareness, helps when these amazing experiences either spontaneously happen or you induce them yourself. I'm not going to go into how to lucid dream or how to dream, interpret your dreams, but I will share some definitions for me of what's the difference between a dream and a lucid dream. So most of the time when we have a dream and we have some recall from the night before, and it's sort of like we're recanting an episode of a TV show, right? That we believe that we were there, but while we were there, we weren't aware that we were dreaming. It seemed like a real reality at the time, regardless of how crazy this stuff is that's happening there. And because we dream 5 to 7 times a night, sometimes we can't tell if it was one big dream or we had a whole bunch of little ones, unless maybe you got up and went to the bathroom. But for me, lucidity is when you either go into the dream lucid and aware that you're going into a dream, or that you're in the dream and you become more aware that you, the you that you know yourself to be, is on a bed sleeping somewhere. And now you're walking around in another reality. And you may be the same you may be a different version of the same you, or you could be a totally different person. But what dreaming teaches me or shares with me is so profound. Like it's still trying to find the words, right? Because the words can't even begin to encapsulate the experience or what what I want to share with you. So number one, my intention is for you to be blown away by these two videos, but also to open up your awareness that this could happen for you. Now, the lucid dream I'll be talking about was a spontaneous one. I didn't induce it. I didn't go into the dream that night with the intention of lucid dreaming strongly, but every night I do. And I lucid dream. My dreams are very lucid, even when they seem to be regular dreams. But this one was full-blown awareness in that now moment, right? It's showing me that in the now moment, while I was on the bed, there was another version of me connected to the version of me on the bed that was aware walking around in her reality. So let's get into some of the connection points here. So lucid dreaming, again, is you're aware that you're in the dream. And I'm going to throw out to you, because I've been teaching dreaming and lucid dreaming since 2008. I've even done a 2-day event, and I do have that 2-day event available. It was a dream interpretation event. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll put the link to that 2-day event that you could always go in and purchase for yourself, so that you can experience the sessions where we really broke down how to interpret your dreams, right? Okay, so the connection between the two worlds. So for me, consciousness, I am, right? When we hear about the I am, you hear other manifestation coaches talk about it, especially if they use a lot of Neville Goddard teachings or biblical teachings. I am that I am. And for me, the world of I am is the world of duality, because if there is I am, there is I am not. And a lot of times we learn who we are by learning who we are not, right? That's kind of from Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh. But what I am can be very confusing, because in the moment that we are aware of what we want, we're aware in that moment that we're not technically physically reality it's, and it can get very confusing. So that's why when I teach manifestation, I like to take you to I create, which is the next level. I am is root chakra. I create is sacral chakra. It's a transaction. You understand how to create. You know how to create a sandwich. You know how to create a drawing, or to write a letter, or even to create your signature right now, to sign your name. You know how to physically, actively create. And when you truly want to create as the God of your reality, you have to feel safe in your own imagination. You have to feel safe in the reality that you're in. And even though you are surrounded by safety, the echoes or the mind comes in and creates havoc and craziness within your consciousness, that you don't have enough money, that something can be taken away from you. You're not safe. Your partner will leave. They'll take the house. They'll take the car. If you don't do all this stuff and jump through all the hoops. And when you truly want to go in as a creator of your reality, you want to know that all of that is taken care of for you. And I'm going to share with you how this lucid dream really amplified those things within my own consciousness. So first and foremost, I have an assumption that nothing happens outside of my consciousness. If there's something happening in a different country right now, number one, I want to talk about perspective. That country is third person right now, because it's not what's right in front of me. And whether you're lucid dreaming, or you're in this reality, what you would call your daytime awareness, your regular, real reality, whatever you want to call it, awareness is everything. And I'm in first person perspective right now, recording this video. And you're in first person perspective watching the video. Third person perspective is when we're able to reflect, right? If I think about what my character did yesterday, or I talk about the dream that I had, that's a reflection from this character, because I'm not in it. So the version of me that was in the lucid dream was first person perspective, as this version of me was third person perspective on a bed sleeping. So that's really important to know, which perspective are you looking from, because one's active, the one in the dream, and one's passive, which is the law of gender. And both perspectives are valid, and both perspectives you can manifest from. Just when you're in that first person active perspective, you can a lot faster make a sandwich in active perspective, first person, than in sitting here imagining one and then allowing the time and space for it to arrive. And that's where people get screwed up, because you're in third person perspective asking for first person perspective results. So perspective is really important. But regardless of what perspective you're in, there's only now. There's only now. And the now of the me that was on the bed sleeping was in 1 year, and then me that was in the lucid dream was in another year. And I'm going to go into the actual details of the dream. You will be blown away at 4 p.m. today during our live on the channel here, Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So, but what this taught me from the connection, creating the connection, that I always believed this was as much of a dream as my nighttime dreams, whether lucid or not. And if so, that's very exciting because the rules of engagement in the dream world are very different than this one. They're actually looser, they're more subconscious, and they have a certain feel to it. And because I was the calmest I ever was in this lucid dream that I had, I was able to experience things in real time, in first person perspective, that made me realize I've had that feel here. I've had that type of interaction here, what I would call the 3D real world. So without going into the details of the dream, there was a starting point of the dream, or what I call the impregnation. That's why sacral chakra is all about creation. It's about the marriage of the male and female energy, right? If you think about conception of a child. And Neville Goddard talks a lot in his dream lectures that when you wake up in a room, it's like you're the little sperm and the reality is the egg. And whatever it is, whatever the DNA, whatever offerings of thought and action that you're doing within the circle of the dream, that's why we call it the Invincible CEO circle. That you're walking around in this bubble or the snow globe, that's you. And that's why you'll hear me ask on this channel, where are you? Who are you? Which version are you? Because I had the awareness simultaneously of two different versions of me. But I knew not to focus too much of the version of me on the bed, because that would be the quickest way to go back into that reality, is to give focus and awareness to it. So the dream began. And when the dream first began, I wasn't lucid yet, but I was probably very heightened aware. So it was very easy for me to go lucid when the moment came. And that was a moment of cognitive dissonance. That what I realize now is that the scene that I became aware of, I don't know how I got there. And even within the room that I was in, if I don't know how I got to the house, I don't even know how, like, where was I before I was in that room? Like, there was no before. There was no, it began where it began. That was the big bang for that reality. There was no day before, there was no year before. And I'm sure once I stay there and I engage with that reality more, that would open up, but it wasn't necessary. So all that was necessary while I was in the dream is what I was doing. And the dream started. I was aware that the dream started. It wasn't totally lucid yet until I saw something, because my mind put me in a place where I felt comfortable. It's not where I am now, but you could say my character on the bed, it was something from her past, a place of her past where she spent many, many years there. And it was such a wonderful experience being there. So right away, my awareness, my consciousness put me in a space where I felt safe. It's no different than when I wake up in the morning and I'm in the room that I'm in now. It felt the same way. Like, I'm supposed to be here. This is my story. This is where I'm at, right? So it makes me realize why we're waking up in our awareness. And this is when I open my eyes, and I love that I just got here technique, that I look around, and because the room looks a certain way, that it starts to trigger certain patterns, certain programs, certain themes that I know to get up and start acting and behaving in a certain way. It's almost like if you pay attention, you'll feel yourself moving into it without thought. So I'm in this reality now that's comfortable to me. But once I noticed something that was totally off, it was cognitive dissonance. And I've always said cognitive dissonance during the day is letting you know that you're really at that awareness point where your subconscious is asking you to become more and more aware, because something isn't quite right, but it's not scary. Like, like I was in danger or something. And once I picked up on it and I did go lucid, it was the calmest lucid I've ever been. Because if you've ever explored lucid dreaming, if you get too excited in the dream very quickly, the dream in your subconscious likes equilibrium, it likes status quo. It wants you to not be that extra aware because it wants you to have the experience as the character. Because from then, I became hyper aware, I became lucid. I realized that there was a version of me on the bed, that I'm back in a place where when I fell asleep, I wasn't there and I didn't have access to it. So it shows you that what is yours can never be taken from you, even if in the reality, it's no longer yours through your own choices. If sell a house, move, whatever the situation is, that there are versions of you while you're living your life in your version, there's other versions of you in those other realities that are different. And at that moment, I've talked here about becoming the observer. I went into observer mode because I realize now I'm a guest there. That's not my reality, but it is a reality. It's a quantum possibility. I don't know which one it is. So I'm going to use my five senses to observe through my eyes, through my ears, through my nose, through sound, through touch, all the senses. And because I'm a guest there, and there's a version of me that I identify more with on the bed, that she now is the God dreaming this reality. She is the subconscious of this reality, and I'm the conscious version in the dream. It made me start to connect that what I feel there right now, as I'm the conscious version in this version of the dream, there's another version of me on a bed somewhere, and this is her dream. Can I prove it? No, just like that version of me there could not prove to any of the characters that she was going to interact with that she wasn't their Dede, that there was another Dede on a bed somewhere else dreaming this dream, right? So I couldn't prove it in that reality that I know that I'm this one. So therefore, I can't prove it in that one, but I like the idea and I like the energy of what it feels like. Because here's the thing that I know is this version of me dreaming that lucid dream, that whatever my character that went lucid in the dream, whether she was lucid or not, if I'm dreaming her and I'm dreaming that reality, whatever she wants, I'm going to give to her. I'm not going to tell her no. I'm not going to make her learn lessons. I'm going to, if she asks for $1 million, I'm going to give her $1 million because I want to see what that version would do with that, even though it might be different than the one I do here and the one who's dreaming me would do there. That's for her because maybe she'll show me something here that I haven't thought of consciously. So there's no lessons to learn. I'm not going to make her jump through hoops to test her. Whatever she wants, she's going to get. So I become aware of this while I'm in the dream. That version of me, we'll call her Dede 2. And Dede 1's on the bed. And Dede 0 is the version of me dreaming me right now as Dede 1. I dream Dede 2. So I'm there and I'm the observer. And I don't know when I am, but I do know where I am. But when I look down and I see myself, but I don't know if I'm me. I don't know if I'm one of my sisters, but I feel like I'm me. But I never went to look in a mirror to see what do I look like. So that's really powerful because when we do go to look into a mirror, we're going to get the reflection back of who we think we are. But that didn't happen in that dream. And I'll share the details again at 4 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. But I also decided that since I'm a guest in that reality, and I don't know how long I'm going to be there, that I'm going to be aware of everything. I'll interact when I'm interacted with. And that if I do have an opportunity to bring a manifestation in because I'm so aware of the connection now between the conscious and the subconscious mind, that it would be my duty to make things better there by bringing something in there, basically paying attention to what the other characters would offer, because they're always going to show up and give you storyline. So this was very exciting because here's the other thing that I will tell you. While I was there, it was real. I could feel the ground underneath my feet. As I walked around the reality and touched things, it felt just as solid as it does here. And again, I kept my excitement level to what an everyday feeling would be, but yet I could feel that feeling of it's not normal. Like I could feel the active presence, the heightened awareness that was going on during that time as characters started to come in and that I spoke to as I moved around the physical reality, and it was kind of kept to 3 rooms. But there was an assumption that there was an upstairs. There was an assumption that there was an outside, but I never had to see the outside. I never had to see what car I'm driving, but I could feel that there was an idea that there was a car that I drove. So I started to understand that in that moment of that dream, this is all my subconscious. The dreaming me felt that she needed to glean or to understand or to observe. And it wasn't here's the real powerful thing. And I know you guys are going to love this part. I was her. I had all the rights and privileges of being her in her reality. And as the dream characters interacted with me, they believed I was her. They believed I was their version, even though I knew that I wasn't. But I also was able to see how they looked very familiar. They looked like people that I knew, that I loved, that I interacted with, but they weren't my version. And I could feel that. And it made me realize that when I'm in my awakened reality and I interact with some of the people that I know and love, when we feel like they're off, right? When we feel like this isn't your version of that person, you're becoming more and more lucid that it looks like your reality, but it's not the reality that you've asked for. You're stepping into another parallel version of that. And that's why, as the observer, and we observe their behavior, and we know what we've chosen, and everything is for the unfolding. But the unfolding now, because I know as that dreamer in that lucid dream that the version of me on the bed is not making me jump through hoops. It's not making me learn lessons. It's not making me put out fires. If I want $1 million, it's going to give it to me right then and there, right? Because in lucid dreams, there is no hang time. You think of something and it shows up. So that's why I wanted to stay out of thought, because I didn't want to think things in. I wanted to observe, because I don't even know what the storyline is. I just know that I'm there and that I'm going to interact while I'm there. And here's the thing. I wasn't thinking about, does she have bills to pay? Does she have enough money? Does everyone like her? Does she need to grow her business? Does YouTube exist? I wasn't thinking any of that. I was just so present in the now moment because it was so amazing that I knew, and there was something in the reality that told me what year I was in. I was not in my current year. I was in the past. But that past reality, that year, did not match to the reality year that I knew. So it made it even more exciting. And again, I'll go into those details at 4 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. But it was showing me that as I wake up in the morning in my bedroom, what I'm doing there to acclimate myself to, okay, I've activated, I'm there, I'm the one breathing the life into this reality right now. What I was doing there is what we do in the morning time to glean which reality we're in. It just happens so quickly, we don't realize it. So I didn't have a phone in my hand, but that doesn't mean there wasn't phones there in that reality. I couldn't even tell you when I looked down what I was wearing anymore, because there was so much to take in, to really be super aware with. And there was a lot of things that matched at that time in that reality, and more as I walked around, things that seemed okay, normal while I was in it. But when I woke up in the morning, the reflection back was like, oh, why was she there, kind of thing. Like, of all the people, it wouldn't make sense for her to be there, but she was. And because it felt natural and normal, even though I knew I was lucid, I could see now, the more and more I was in the reality, how that lucidity was starting to wane, because even though I questioned her being there, I engaged with her. And the more I engaged with her, the less lucid I became, as the reality started to align with me. And I was becoming more and more that character. Now, I can't remember what happened as I woke up here, because and I can't even remember if was it the dog barking or I naturally woke up, but I did wake up here. And as soon as I woke up here, I realized that I was lucid dreaming. And I thought immediately, like, what happened to that reality? Was it like Avatar and she just fell to the ground because now the consciousness is here? And what I realized is all of this is happening in my consciousness, whether the reality is a physical reality or it's a conceptual perspective of, okay, that reality was real when I was in it, first person perspective, walking around in that past year in that past house. And now there's a version of me on the bed in the current year that I believe that I'm from, but it's all happening within my awareness. And when I woke up here, I felt the consciousness pull out of that reality and immediately animate this one. So when I say to you here that manifestation, all we're doing is jumping from reality to reality to reality, but the majority of the time it looks very, very similar. That when I walk around this room right now, if I were to look for some cognitive dissonance, not that I was there, but it was very obvious to me, that it's also here to remind you to go lucid in the now moment. The more awareness, the more aware you are, right? So we've done here in the past where if you take a bite of something and you normally just chew it like you chew it and then swallow it, but then I have you do it again and you take your time with it and you slow it down into slow motion where you're feeling every movement and you're tasting and you're feeling the food move around your mouth and your tongue. That's what's bringing more presence and awareness together to have you go more and more lucid, because all there is now. And what I did was I experienced a now moment in that what we'll call the lucid dream, DD2. And here now I zeroed back into DD1. And now when I opened my eyes here, I'm in this lucid dream. So now it's very interesting to me to go into DD0. And who is she and what is her reality? And as soon as I started asking those questions after I came out of that, I started getting all of this information in that actually feels more like me than this reality that I felt like since you could say I was little, that it wasn't quite my reality. I don't really jive here. If you've ever felt like you're on some strange world or some strange planet, it's because you're in a lucid dream that you've acclimated to, that you believe is you right now. But all you have to start asking is, who is the version dreaming this version of me right now? And knowing all my versions, if I'm willing to give this version, DD2, anything she asks for, because I want to see what she's going to do with it in the dream, in her reality, because her reality is different than mine, then I know that that version dreaming me right now would say the same thing, right? That is, so when we hear the Father is greater than I, the Father and I are one and the Father's greater than I, here's the thing why that never set with me is because for me, my true reality is always the mother is greater than I, but we are one, because I actually had that experience here when I was pregnant. And in this physical reality, I've never seen a pregnant father. Not that they're not loving, but if I really, for me, I realize this reality is the opposite of where I feel like I'm truly from, if that makes sense. Not that it's wrong or there's right, there's just different when you're doing manifestation. So in knowing this now, right, and I've adopted it a long time that me and the mother are one, because from my reality, it is female based, it is female led, and which makes then sense. I would come into a lucid dream that would be the opposite of what I know, because what I was experienced there was very different than what I know here. It was showing me all the levels, but who do I identify with? And the more I identify with that reality, just like the more I was identifying with this reality, I was seeing more and more changes happening in real time in the dream, because I was influencing the template that my subconscious mind goes, here's this scene, and I get to improvise and go, yes, this is very comfortable, but I remember this way. And that's when you start to realize, the more aware you are in the now moment, that you're not caught in the story. I wasn't trying to figure it out. I was observing seeing what the differences are. And again, remembering that I was a guest there, and anything I do must add on to that reality, not take away from it. And that's one of the assumptions that I have here, that I'm exploring a reality that is very different than the reality that the now version of me on the bed. And who's to say how many versions up that goes? It's like lucid dream inception. And it gave me such a sense of, because I wasn't worried about her bills, because I wasn't trying to put out her fires or figure out what's wrong or what could I do to help her, and I wasn't doing any of that. It was just what was ever presented to me in the moment is what I was going to do while I was there. And I was also going to pay attention, because if I did something totally out of character for that version of her, the other dream characters there would let me know, because isn't that what they do here? Because I realized in this reality, if you shake up the dream too much, it will kick you out. That's the quickest way to get out of a dream that you don't like or you don't want, is to realize it's all a dream. You bought into it. You weren't lucid. So if you're in the dream as a regular dream, you don't know you're dreaming. So the majority of your regular conscious up until finding manifestation, you didn't realize you were dreaming. But the real you is the awareness. The real me is the awareness that me as the dreamer and me as the dreamt shared. Because I was aware as the version that became lucid in the dream that there's another version of me dreaming me right now, and I'm connected to her. And when she wakes up in the morning, when I woke up in the morning, we share the awareness of the experience that was going on. So powerful. And what does this mean for you now as a manifester? Oh, you will never have to worry or doubt or fear, because I am is the awareness. I am the dreamer on the bed. I am the active moving around person in the dream simultaneously. So I am is your conscious awareness of who you are and what you're doing. And here's another really powerful point. The me on the bed was not moving. The me on the bed was sleeping. But the me in the dream that was lucid was moving around. So all consciousness is, it's not a physical moving of anything. It's the movement of the consciousness of the mind. I was moving around in a different layer of my mind where it felt like I was walking around and touching things and sending and feeling the sensations of that back to the version of me dreaming that was not moving. So now, today, while I'm here in this awakened daytime reality, that version of me on the bed is sleeping and I'm moving around in her consciousness, in her awareness. She is aware that I am aware of her. And now, because I'm aware of DD0 and I'm DD1 and I'm aware of DD2, and DD2 was aware of DD1, DD2 can also have that direct connection to DD0. And however many up it goes and however many down it goes. And just because I say like DD2 is down, I don't mean that that reality was a lower reality. I wasn't there long enough to know exactly what that reality was. But when I was there, it was deep family connection. Like the things that I know that I got from it without any of the characters giving me words really amplified the knowing that I have here, of the knowing of the DD0 and her reality. And as the past couple days, as I've been identifying with her more than this version, and I'm direct connect saying to her, here's what is needed here. It's been showing up just like that, guys, just like that. It's been so mind-blowing that it took me this long to be able to form the words to do a video about it. So I know that you are like blown away. Share your comments, share your thoughts, like, subscribe, do all the stuff, because I deeply appreciate it and it really helps get this message out there. And I'm not saying that you have to teach yourself how to lucid dream, but the very fact that you're watching this video and you're going to watch the next one today, and you have it in your mind, and I would say to you to, if not my 2 videos, pick a lucid dream video maybe 15 minutes before you go to bed, and I'll share with you how I kind of set things up doing an imaginal act, putting myself in the past prior in the video later on today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's a big connection between dreaming, lucid dreaming, and manifestation, because it's all your consciousness, and it's showing you how you exist in different realities, different worlds, different universes simultaneously. That one world is not taking away from another. And what we think is important in our dream right now, that we're trying to overcome, that we're trying to learn the lessons, that we got to pass the test in order to get our manifestations, it's all BS. I didn't have to do any of that in that reality. And when I was there, I was so thrilled to be there and explore, that I realized that's what I'm waking up with now here, instead of going, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? What's going to happen if I don't do that? And what's going to be taken away from me? Like, we don't do that here. Anything you do adds on to you. And I'm happy and excited to share this new version of manifestation exploration. So if you are part of a manifestation community and you like this new, fresh topic, because all it is your awareness. You are impregnating, you are the sperm that impregnates the reality the moment that you become conscious of it. And it is the egg or the shell or the circle that you get to move around in. And whatever it is in the now moment that you are aware of and you're focused on, that's why we leave the echoes alone unless they add on to us and serve us. And because here's the other part, was because I didn't know that reality, there was hardly any echoes. There wasn't any echoes because none of them would make sense to me. I don't know what's going on there. I literally just got there. I literally could say, I just got here. Even though there was an ongoing script, I can only start from where I was. And I've said that in my dream interpretation videos I've done here, that in the dreams I interpret, I always start somewhere, but I never know how I got there. And that's really, really powerful, because the moment that you arrive is when the reality begins. And even though this today may seem like a continuation of yesterday, it's really a whole separate reality that you've put the qualifiers, quantifiers, the labels on to make you feel safe. That's it. It's only here to make you feel safe. But you're not bound by any previous version of you, even though, just like I wasn't bound by any previous version of her, but I wasn't there to go and, take over and clean up house and get rid of stuff. And because I have no idea what that reality was about. And every morning now when I wake up, I have no idea what my reality is about until I decide that. And whatever it is that I decide, I got a direct connection to that higher self, that inner me, that God that I am one with. The mother and I are one. Mother is bigger than I. And she's going to give me anything I ask for. All right, guys, I will see you today, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. If you go to the video now and it'll say notify me, click the notify so that you remember to come and join us and bring your questions. Until then, happy manifesting and enjoy.